Yep.
All right, it being 8:13, 2 minutes early, we'll start the public service meeting for November 25th. We'll call meeting to order. There's anybody here recording this meeting other than us, so I think we should be good to go. So first item on the agenda is review and approval of minutes dated October 7th, 2020.
Waive the reading of the minutes and accept as printed.
Motion to waive the reading and accept. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item number 2, public service department update. I'm sorry, public works, sewer and water department update. Go ahead.
In the back of your packet, you'll see our submittal. This is the mayor's format as far as what we submit to the mayor.
Got it.
So just to keep it consistent, we figured we'd run with that format.
Okay.
Update on the salt shed. The installation of the salt shed is complete. We're just doing some finishing touches right now. We're putting some plywood protective barrier on the inside of the concrete wall, just for added protection to keep the salt off it, and also for like impacts and stuff like that. And we're also meeting with a gate company to install a slide gate for the front with a remote control, just to keep people out of the salt shed. So we can actually take delivery of salt today if we wanted to. We could just put it in the back, but the other one's still in use, and we're still emptying that, so it's about half full. So we'll empty that and start receiving deliveries on the salt shed. So one of the good things about the size of this salt shed is, I will say we're not going to be in panic mode after every storm, because it's much larger capacity, so we can accept deliveries on a longer duration. So we won't run out of salt. Not that we ever did. A couple of years ago, there was an issue getting deliveries from the company, and it was regional. It wasn't just us. So cities and towns were scrambling, and we were borrowing salt from one another, replenishing them as we went. So we're not going to have that issue.
Excellent. Can you get any better pricing?
We do a collective bid with a bunch of towns. I think there's like 14 towns that we bid, Oxford and whatnot. So
the collaborative.
Yeah. So we get a pretty decent price right now, and believe it or not, prices of salt has gone down. So hopefully save a little money this year.
Good. Well, hopefully we're not any snow like we did in
So we're out to, right now we're under contract, leachate pump station over at the landfill. It takes flows from the sanitary landfill and the sludge landfill. That pump station is under contract, and they are upgrading it as we speak. It should be done probably in the spring. That project will be done. That's just the pump station, not the sludge landfill.
Right.
Paving update, Green, Haywood, and Beach Street, that's all complete. Sidewalks, pavement, asphalt, it's all loomed and seeded. Cross Street's completed. Abbott and Crystal Lake, that street is complete. We're up in Highland, Glacier, Reservoir, and James. The paving is done. We're up there looming and seeding right now currently.
Looming and seeding at this time of the year is just hopefully catch in the spring, and then we'll go back.
Chances are we're gonna have to go back out and seed again, but we need to at least put loom behind it, so it hopefully will freeze, so we don't damage it during plow. Pearl Street, we have a grant for that. We received a $450,000 grant to pave Pearl. So a contractor's actually doing that whole project, sidewalks and paving. We tied Elizabeth, Margaret, and Nelson when we did that water project that the water department did in-house. So it's the whole neighborhood, the whole side of Pearl will all be complete this year.
Excellent. Nice work.
We are up currently now at Lakeview, Chatham, Plymouth, and Ida Hill. The paving is done except for Lakeview Drive. We still gotta pave Lakeview, but we're gonna be finishing that up. If we don't get it done by tomorrow, we'll be back in first week in December to complete that as well, along with Sylvan Avenue, which is a little road off of Coburn. Conan, right down the street. So that should be all done. So believe it or not, hopefully before snow flies, we'll be done with our paving.
Excellent. That's good considering you get the money late.
Yes.
And so kudos to the department.
And the contractor. They really, Mass Broken Stone did a great great job scheduling us in.
Excellent.
We had bought a crane hoist. Well, the council approved the money last year. We installed the crane hoist, which is a large crane to work on our plows and heavy equipment down there. We are looking at getting, instead of just a single door, putting in a double door, so we're looking at quotes to open up the side of the DPW and put in a larger door so that we can get wing plows and things like that in. So we're working on quotes for that. We received a $4.6 million in wastewater treatment facility upgrades. We're currently working with our consultant working on that project. It's gonna be about a two-year project, so this is gonna be on the list for a while, but just to give you an update. Elizabeth Street water main, that is it's complete, paving's done, so we're pretty much done down in that neighborhood. Crystal Lake roof, the council approved $140,000 a couple months ago. We had a contractor come in and they replaced the roof of Crystal Lake in 2 days, stripped it and replaced it in 2 days.
Wow.
The things, yeah, they were in and out and no leaks.
It was under budget, right?
That was on budget, but going back up to the salt shed, I'm glad you brought that up. We budgeted $625K for that job. We should be in about $70K under budget for doing that job. Took us a little longer. We did most of the work in-house, but try to save the city some money. We figured overall we saved about $250,000 to $300,000 by doing the work in-house on that, processing the gravel and all. We are opening up bids for James Street pump station, which is up the top of Reservoir Hill. That pump station pumps water to the elevated storage tank over on the other side of 140. It was last built, I think, in the mid-80s, so we're looking at redoing that. We received a grant for just under $1 million for that work as well. We might have to use some water funds to finish it, but at least we got the majority of it paid for by a grant. We're doing some tree removal. We hired an outside contractor to remove a couple of large trees that actually need a crane. They're so big. We couldn't do them in-house, so the council and mayor approved, it was $30,000 a couple months ago, so we're in the process now of doing some tree work. We've completed some dam inspections for Pearly Brook Dam and Cowie Pond Dam. They're required every 2 years to be inspected, so those are completed. I haven't received the report yet, but they're done. We upgraded, replaced our alarm system for all the DPW buildings. They're all connected, so now we're just putting in codes, and so that's complete as well in-house. And I have newly promoted a foreman for the water and sewer foreman. We had a retirement back in September and did interviews and have promoted someone from in-house.
Excellent.
And just quickly I'll go through is the city has purchased 2 front-end loaders and a 1-ton dump truck in the last few months as well. And pretty much everything as far as capital planning, that's kind of the things we've just talked about, so I don't think there's much to go back over if there's any questions.
Staffing wise, were you in good shape?
I'm short-handed, but I have to save that little bit of money just in case we have a little budget shortfall at the end of the year, so I'm holding about 4 or 5 positions short right now.
Okay. Looking good for once snow flies and stuff.
Yep.
Should be all set. Excellent. Thank you. Questions? Awesome. Have at it.
Okay, my list is a little shorter.
Usually.
Yeah, I'm 2 people, he's a lot more. The Route 140 pedestrian bridge, there's been some action on that. The last time I told you I was waiting on the Mass Trails grant. That has been awarded. The original amount we requested was $176,000 with a smaller match. After, that was last year, so in the process, the cost for the design had gone up due to comments from the state. So I actually got a hold of Mass Trails, they agreed it's a worthy project, so they upped the award to what we actually need to finish the design. So we're getting almost $205,000 from Mass Trails, and the city will have to match $51,000. That's gonna get that project to the point where it can go out to bid, the state can build it, and pretty much we'll be done, and the state takes over at that point. So hopefully, they're planning on, finishing the design next fall, so then we're done. And then hopefully it gets built. It's been, I think, 2000.
Stop saying hopefully.
Well, it's gonna get built eventually. This project's been going on since, I think, 2015.
Uh-huh.
So, it just keeps getting pushed back on the state, the tip list. But right now, they have it at 2027. So we will see that bridge someday.
Excellent.
The Safe Streets and Routes for All project that we had gotten a grant for, the state finally committed the matching funds, so I have all the money required to do that. Or our consultant, once the contract's signed off on, is planning to get going after Thanksgiving. So we'll see some movement on that. And again, that's it's about a year-long process to develop our Vision Zero plan, which is to eliminate fatalities in the city, vehicular, motorcycle, bike, pedestrian. So it'll look at a lot of different things where there've been issues, and that's the plan. After that's done, we look for more grant money to start implementing some of the things that the plan identifies. So that'll be coming down the road. I've still been receiving a few inquiries on flood insurance because of the firm updates. Most of them have been on Brookside Drive. I've given out as much information and done as much as I can for homeowners. They have to deal with FEMA. Typically, they have to hire a surveyor. I've heard back from one individual who went through the process, got it all approved. He didn't have to pay for flood insurance. So I'm hoping most owners are successful. The engineering department is responsible for dams, a few dams, as well as the ones the DPW has. All those inspections are done and the reports were submitted to the state, so the commitments on those are done for now until the next time they're up. The Uptown Rotary, there's still some work that needs to be done. I eventually caught up with the state and they couldn't get the contractor back, so it's not gonna happen this year. So hopefully in the spring, I'll check back with you then and hopefully we'll get that wrapped up. But as far as I'm concerned, it's still an open project because the state hasn't wrapped it up. I never give GIS updates, so I figured I'd get a couple for you here. Maggie's been doing great work. A while back, she finished the annual assessors updates that happen. It's just updating the records based on sales and parcel splits and things like that. It happens every year. She submits them to our assessor as well as the state. So there's two entities that she's updating for. She's also been working with Justin on a new conservation viewer for his use and the Conservation Commission's use. It's just updating information with new data and things like that. Then one other little project she's working on along with from Doug from Lines and Signs is to map and catalog all the Victorian lights. And the reason we're doing that is we don't have good locations. So, I mean, we have highly accurate GPS now, so we're locating them all. We're finding some that weren't mapped previously. The bigger part of that is that a lot of them have either a street sign, a traffic sign, one of the banners that the city does. So we're noting and cataloging all that information. So, for instance, if a lot of times the Victorian poles get whacked by cars. By the time Doug's involved, he doesn't know what signs were on them, so now he knows every sign on every pole. They're all numbered now, so we can identify them. It also makes it easier for the DPWs putting out Christmas decorations. They know what goes where, what goes back on the pole, because some of the banners will come down. So it's a small project, but it actually makes a lot of things simpler for a lot of people. And then the final thing I've got on here is we have a group of residents, a family that owns a bunch of parcels, which are basically paper streets that they've owned the family's owned for years and years and years. They'd like to donate them back to the city, so I'm just working with the city solicitor on that. So that could be coming to the council eventually, depending on where it goes. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you. Questions?
So, as of the November 10th meeting, all notice of intents and all permits that were submitted and received their DEP numbers, all passed, and they all received their respective orders of conditions within the allotted time period that we're allowed to take in order to make sure that all the information is correct on their documents. We do have a couple projects in the pipeline so far as we're expecting a proposed fuel station by Walmart to be in front of the Concom by the December 8th meeting, as well as various other closeouts from other projects that we've had in our purview within the last year. As far as grant work, Time Bond and I had our public information panel on the 23rd of October. We had a pretty low audience count, but you know, all for a good cause in the effort to get the information out there for our effort for the MVP grant. In the meantime, yesterday we had a meeting with the mayor, the director of community development, and the grant writers that the city contracts, Keller, and we discussed potential alternative through the community culvert grant as a way to kind of offset the umbrella cost of what we foresee the project being, because as of the latest OPCC that Time Bond submitted, it's a hair over $2 million project. The community culvert grant, if we apply with our phase 2 project, has the potential to offset the cost by about 50%. So we are hoping to repurpose a lot of the materials that we have used for the MVP grant in order to also put into this one as well. The due date for that one is going to be early January, so we're going to be working a little fast pace and we're going to get all the CEOs together, but we're hoping for the best for that.
I know we missed the deadline on the MVP grant last year, but we're on pace.
We should be on pace at this point to have all the submittals necessary for that one, and all of our, because at this point all the engineering and design has been completed and all the permits are all in place. It's just getting the funding to finally put a shovel in.
Again, there's no guarantee on getting it, correct?
Now it becomes more competitive every year too. So I mean, right now being able to have another way to potentially fund it is, it's also a good idea to start looking as well. And potentially, if one grant offsets the cost by a certain amount, maybe asking for a smaller amount towards the other grant could improve our success as well.
And just for the audience, can you just cover what the MVP grant is again?
The MVP grant is for municipal vulnerability preparedness grant. I believe the action grant portion of it was, at least from what the mayor was discussing yesterday during our meeting with the grant writers, that one might be sunsetted and put into a couple other different parts of the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs, but it's mainly for communities to act for the purposes of improving and maintaining infrastructure while also improving climate resilience and flood control and stuff like that. So, and
Didn't mean to throw you off.
oh yeah, no worries. I was also going to shout out to Navi for also helping with the GIS viewer. All the data layers that she's been adding makes it a lot more easy, all in one place to look and double check for a lot of things that we have to make calls on jurisdictionally with all the setbacks that we deal with wetlands. And I'm really excited for when we're able to finalize it and put it into proper practice. that's about it for now.
If I may?
Yeah.
Just a couple of other issues that jumped up. Since the last time we met, the Mill Street Bridge, between Tiffany and West Broadway, we got notified from the state that we should close the bridge. So we went out and had to close it, we put up detour signs. So they're looking at bidding it in 2029, and it'll probably be at least a couple of years after that before it's complete. So that bridge will probably be closed for at least 7 years, that best case.
Mass DOT, they didn't commit, but they will try, it's on the tip list currently, the state was undertaking it completely, the design and construction. We did meet with Mass DOT to talk about it, and they did say they'll try and move it up in the tip list, so knowing it's, out of commission. And to add to what Dane was saying is, we met to discuss possible, things we could do to get it back into service. And if it's just cost-wise, it doesn't make any sense to spend money on it, just because of its condition and the fact that it's gonna get rebuilt. So they just said it's not worth it. So,
And then on a lighter note, we got the Christmas wreaths up last night, so
Excellent.
we're all set for the holidays.
Thank you for your efforts there. Justin, you're good? And do we have National Bird on?
I'm gonna call him right now. Good morning, Will, it's Rob. I've got you on conference call with the service committee.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Good. This is Councilor Tassoni, Councilor Craig Cormier as well. We're missing one member, Karen Harden. First off, item number 3 is poll petitions, so I'm not sure if you have the item number in front of you. I just want to go through 11-730 with the committee.
Will, this is the Derby Drive and West Line Street petition.
Yeah.
You wanna go ahead?
Sure. So this, the Westland and Derby Drive, portion of the job, we're gonna be putting a switch gear over on the lot, I think it's 58, rear Main Street. And to feed that, we're going to be going up the side of Derby Drive, as it shows, and then we're also going to be replacing the conduit that's going to the 2 pads right across the street from the existing manhole. When we did our manhole survey last year, they found that the existing conduit was not up to standard and it was old. Then we're also going to be installing new conduit from the single-phase pad in the sidewalk there to we're going to install a new hand hole, and then the conduit will go to the hand hole, and that will be used to refeed the candy shop on the corner, because they're fed from, I believe it's pole 2, which is going to end up getting removed in that backyard pole line. So for this portion, that's for the Derby Drive portion, that's everything we'll be doing in the road.
And will this disturb service, obviously, for the businesses that are connected to this?
I'm sure there will be some interruptions. I mean, obviously, we try to minimize outages as much as possible. And so it is a little bit of a logistical conundrum for some of this. I believe what we're going to try to do is install all the underground first, and so that way, everything will be kept live. That's overhead, and then once we're ready to start pulling cable, we can do as much of the underground work, and then as we can, and then whatever we need to do that's left that can't be done without getting rid of the existing, we'll do how long they calculate the outage will be. They might schedule it as night work, so that way, you know, it's not like it's disrupting the business day, for the tenants. And, I don't do the scheduling myself, but I've heard that that's pretty much how they try to do it. Yeah, I can't speak to the specifics as far as what exactly they'll do or how long any outages will be. But again, we do try to minimize them as much as possible.
When you say minimize, what is minimize categorized as?
Just whatever the shortest duration outage. I mean,
Can you give us a ballpark? Can you give us a ballpark? Are we talking minutes? Are we talking?
It might be a 10-minute outage for a customer that was swapping on a meter. For changing, I believe, let's say, we should be able to do all the underground work without any outages. And then once, if we can we'll run the cables from 58 Main as a full 7. I don't know if it's not shown on the plan. Or no, it is. I might be on another page. But we will run all the underground cables to all the new pads and the new handle for 8 Main Street. And then basically it'll be a cutover, so they'll throw a switch, they'll cut the line for the overhead line that currently feeds everything, so that will go dead. And then they'll undo the connections to whatever pads and meters, and then they'll plug in the new connections. So I don't think as long as, you know, the electrical contractors can handle doing, you know, pulling all the secondaries and stuff, and we, you know, getting that all scheduled with our crews. You know, I don't know exactly how long the outages could be. It could be an hour or two, depending on how much meter work there is, because I know some of the meter setups are being updated in a lot of these buildings. But depending on how long it takes to wire different CTs and VT cabinets, then again, it could be an hour, it could be 2 hours. But again, we do the shortest outage possible.
Okay. And I'm sorry, your role are you the PM for this, or are you just our rep?
I'm the designer on Grid's end. I'm not a project manager per se, although I do kind of do some of those functions. But I just design and I coordinate basically our planning department, and I put everything down on paper, but I don't do any of the actual construction logistics normally.
No, understood, but I would think that whoever is the PM for this project would kind of have a timeline and can answer some of the questions that, you know, we had in regards to time down, how it's going to impact. I like the fact that we're going to potentially do this overnight, but again, we just want to realize the impact once this. And obviously, we need to get this done, but want to understand the impact to the residents and the businesses for sure.
Yeah, I don't think any of those questions could really be answered right now, except for kind of what I gave, just kind of vague figures for similar outages, for similar types of work, because it'll all depend on it'll depend on the crew when they're available.